G'day YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today is part 2 of working on my missus' car, modifying my missus' car. And after copping a lot of flack from a couple of my mates for not doing the job myself and pointing out the fact that I probably would lose some credibility by not doing this myself and paying someone else. I've decided to go ahead and get started on fitting the Tein Luxury Max lowered springs for the back of the CU2 Accord Euro or Acura TSX. If you remember from the first video, I smashed my thumb. It's been around about 4 weeks since I've done that, and I'm probably going to lose that fingernail, but that's what happens on the big jobs. It actually turns out that the rear was much easier than the fronts. I had a look in the parcel tray and I couldn't see any openings, and I've just figured I'm going to have to pull all of that out, move speakers, move everything, pull the seats out just to get to some bolts in the back. But it turns out, and I'll show you in just a moment, there's a very small panel which pops out. It's when you fold the seats down. It's a very thin rectangle panel and it's quite easy access there to the 2 bolts. It wasn't really that daunting. I was just broken from when I busted my finger and I just didn't want to do any more. I'd had enough for the day and I was really peed off, but I'm glad I've taken on the job myself and I didn't pay anyone. It's actually very, very simple. You just pull apart everything in the back. So I've disconnected the sway bar, disconnected all of the control arms down here, loosened the nut at the bottom, loosened the 2 nuts at the top, came straight out. So that was pretty simple. It was much easier than the front. I didn't have to juggle drive shafts and wishbone links and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick this one back up in the car. It's going to be hard doing the tops, but I think I'll be able to put the bottom in, jack it up, and then do the tops after. But there they go. This is the old spring. As you can see, it's around 30mm bigger. We've been driving around on the car with it snow plowing into the ground in the front, being lowered in the front only, and I can't honestly notice any difference in ride quality. It's very comfortable. It doesn't bounce like most lowered cars on lowered springs. They tend to bottom out the shocks and then just bounce on the springs. So you'll see a lot of lowered cars with like King springs or other branded lowered springs or cut springs. The shock's still a tall shock and the spring's a short spring, and then it bottoms out the shock and then you're just bouncing on the spring everywhere you go. Whereas this, it's only dropping the car 30mm, which is 1.5 inches for those people over in backwards land. But yeah, very comfortable, very nice ride. The shocks do their job. All the suspension's still working perfectly. I haven't compromised a single thing. My missus absolutely loves it, and she took the car for a drive with the air filter in. I didn't tell her about it. I just let her take it for a drive, and she called me and said, "Oh man, this car goes really well now. It seems to go a lot better. What did you do?" And I explained the air filter thing. So watch out for the air filter video. That's coming up soon. But yeah, I'm just going to stick these in, give her car some love. I'm still waiting on a rear roof spoiler, a rear deck lid spoiler, which are the subtle type S ones from overseas. So I'm waiting for those. I'll probably go ahead and order some side skirts and rear skirts soon, and then the front bar eventually when we get some wheels, and we'll finish the whole kit off and it should look really nice. I did actually go and order a dump pipe for this because I am getting the car tuned for her, even though yes, it's an auto, it's not a manual, but we're going to pick up a lot more power and torque. And we're not going to change the back half of the exhaust. We're going to keep that stock standard, but the front half we're going to delete the cats and run a downpipe, which is pretty similar to a downpipe you would put on, say, a WRX or a 200SX or an S chassis. It's just 2 bends, nice free flowing 3-inch pipe straight down to where the cat bolts on. Now these cars don't run headers or 4 different pipes out of the head on the later model K24s. They run a collector, which is like an oval with 4 bolts, and then it goes into a dump pipe. So it actually does already look like a turbo dump pipe, even though there's no turbo there yet. But yeah, I'm going to stick this in the car. I really wish I had have done it a few weeks ago, but I was just broken by this car, and it happens to the best of us. But yeah, anyway, let's chuck this back in. You'll notice I'm wearing gloves this time. I'm not going to risk that again. Alright, so in here is the access port. You just need to fold the seats down. There's a little plastic trim piece that goes on there like so. Whip that off, just stuck a screwdriver underneath. You gotta reach in here carefully. It's not easy access, but it's also not hard, just a little bit of patience. Pretty hard to do whilst holding the camera. Oh man, hands. Yep, it's as awkward as it looks, guys. But you get the drift down there. That's what you're looking for. Nuts go on top of there. So I'm going to put this down because I do need both hands. Okay, so it's in. Tein Luxury Master, or whatever they are called. Some cool English translation. So what I did, the two bolts up the top, dropped those down. I took off this one. I took off that one. Obviously the bottom of the shock. Disconnected here, and I disconnected the sway bar just so it would drop down. But yeah, everything was all sweet. Much easier than the front one. Really wish I had have done this all together at once and just not been so defeated. Nice classy gold springs.
Perfect.
Alright, so as you can see, it's all finally lowered and washed now. Still waiting on those few parts to come back, but it rides exactly like standard. So those really are luxury springs. The car rides absolutely perfect. Couldn't be more happier with it. And yeah, very, very subtle. We're only dropped about that much, 30 millimeters, but makes a big difference to the looks of the car. You can't really quite notice it unless you're looking for it, but a set of rims, a body kit, side skirts, and it'll really set the car off. Hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Plenty more parts coming, plenty more mods coming on this, and we'll see you in the next video.